Okay. Now I just need to figure out how to wire everything. But first, why don't I solder up a couple of the dumb boards here. So anybody who might want to try doing what I'm doing will have to make sure that the connectors for the 20 pin is the same on both. There's a nice little image here. Let's see. Okay, so there's a nice little image on the board on which direction the 20 pin should go. And on the tools, they'll be mounted like this or like this, where all the connectors on there are on the same side. At least I'm 90% sure that that's going to be the case. I don't have a tool wired up yet. I would like to, but I will need to print some stuff first. Anyway, we've got 4 boards cut, and I'm going to start off with this board. Add the connectors and mount tools 1 and 2, boards for tools 1 and 2. So, without further ado, let me get my soldering. I don't foresee myself getting any more than 1 or 2 boards wired up at first. Anyway. I mean 1 or 2 tools fired up at first. It's been a while since I've got to solder anything all that useful, so let's see how good I am. Probably not very. So anyway, to get a better shot at what I'm doing. Yeah, focus on this camera is not particularly the best. Guess that's as good as we're going to get. Need to get a better close-up camera.
Good evening.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's all right. Kind of hanging in there. Trying to find some M3 screws of the appropriate size. I think I need some M3x4s, and I don't know if I have any at the moment.
So what took you staying up all the way to 2 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't sleep. I went to bed and lay there and stared at the ceiling, and then I got back up. No, we were talking about, I don't know, it was right after you left, we were talking about the carriage contacts, wiring up the pins into a circuit so that when all three when a ball is locked into all three of the carriage, you get a switch that closes, or it acts as a switch that's closing, and that tells, we can use that to say that we have a positive lockup on the tool. So if you look at, we've got a conductive ball, right, on the tool, and we have those 6 pins, right? And if you wire all those pins in series, with the last 2 on the outside edges as a connection, when the tool locks up, right, you'll get it's like closing a switch. Does that make sense?
You have 2 pins on each ball.
Right. So the left pin on the top goes to the right pin on the right side, and then the left pin on the right side goes to the right pin on the left side.
I guess what I'm wondering about is, how do you know you're not going to be reading voltage from the other circuit?
Oh, no, it's not a circuit. I mean, it's just literally a switch. It acts as a switch. You've got 2, imagine connecting the right pin to the left pin of the next pair. And so you're having, and then
I get what you're saying, but how do you know that, like, let's say since you're both, in theory, one ball should be making contact with both pins, so
yeah.
you would be getting voltage from either switch.
No. So you've got to have all 3 balls in place in order to close the circuit. So
right.
You're not measuring each pair of pins. You're measuring a loop that includes each of the pins.
Well,
right?
Okay, let me rephrase this. Let's say pin 3 is the last pin in the loop. So you're going to have 2 loops, right?
Nope, 1 loop.
So you're only going to have 1 switch.
Okay, it counts as 1 switch with 3 contacts.
Are you reading 1 input or 3 inputs?
1 input. It's 3 switches in series. Think of it that way.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you might be making contact with one of the 2 pins. How do you know that you're making contact with both pins?
Then the circuit closes. So if the ball is touching both, okay, so when I say pins, I'm talking the pairs of pins in the carriage.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. So each one of those pairs of pins is a switch, right? When the ball closes that switch, and the ball is placed in and touches both of those pins.
So you have 3 inputs.
So you're having 3, but they're wired in series.
But so what I'm So what you're saying, okay, so let's say you have pin 1, A and B, pin 2, or then you have like pin 2, A and B, right? Or something like that. So we can,
Right.
so you're saying you're going to apply a voltage to pin A and pick it up on pin B by closing the ball, and then that'll turn on a switch in the microprocessor.
Right, but so you have 1A and B are those two dowel pins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2A and B, and then 3A and B.
Okay,
right?
so you're not feeding any voltage to the balls themselves.
Nope. The balls just count as a conductor.
And because we're not using the aluminum carriage, we can get away with that because the plastic won't conduct any electricity from one ball to the other ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Luke would be screwed with the E3D boards because you would be getting a short circuit from ball to ball.
Exactly. So what we would do,
I gotcha,
is, when all three balls are in place and touching, right? When we have a kinematic lockup,
mm-hmm.
we will see a closed circuit. But if one of the balls isn't seated, right?
Mm-hmm.
If one or more of the balls aren't seated, we won't see a lockup. We won't see a circuit there. So we know that we don't have a connection. Does that make sense?
Right. So I guess I was thinking that you were going to be verifying contact differently, but yeah, just considering we have an insulator between the balls, then it makes sense.
Not only that, we have an insulator between the pins, between the pairs of pins. So the point is that we thin up the carriage just a smidge, right?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of millimeters. Then we drill holes through the back of the carriage, so that the circuit board has pogo pins on it. The circuit board gets mounted on the back, and the pogo pins go through to ensure contact to the dowel rod, the 4x20 dowel pins.
Wait, why do we need pogo pins? I missed that.
The pogo pins are a spring-loaded connection, just to ensure we've got connections.
But
and the pogo pins are mounted on a circuit board that gets installed in the back of the carriage.
Hold on. Let me process this for a second. The pins.
So look at the picture put up in the live stream chat yesterday.
No,
I didn't put a picture. I just put a step.
No, I'm just trying to understand why we need pogo pins. Wouldn't we? What are we? We're applying a voltage to the tool carrier, right? The twist lock side of is where we're doing all this. So we wouldn't actually need to make any particular contact with the carriage.
Okay, so we've got nothing on the tool carrier plate. All right. So the tool side just has balls in it. On the carriage side, on the tool, the carriage side, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. Carrier coupler plate. Okay, so the coupler plate, right, has a circuit board that gets mounted on the back of it, and we just have holes that go through to the back of the dowel pins for the kinematic connector. And that way, we're not having somebody trying to solder or mount anything on the back of the pogo pin, or mount anything on the back of the board. And we could probably get away with something like a threaded hole and just put a screw in it with a wire on it.
The idea what I'm having trouble processing is, why don't we just have a wire going to the twist lock side that we just read one single input from the twist lock? Are you, I mean,
Because
not,
we already have something on the twist lock, right? We already have a switch on the twist lock. It's on the back of the carriage. What we're looking for is continuity when all three balls of the tool carrier plate.
But we don't we don't care about the tool carrier plate, though. We care about the balls making contact to the kinematic pins, right?
Right. That's what we're measuring.
But we don't need to measure that from the tool side. We could measure that from the twist lock side.
Yeah, we are measuring it from the twist lock side. Okay, so there's the coupler plate on the carriage that has the pins in it, and the tool plate has the balls.
Right. And I don't see why we need pogo pins to connect the tool plate to the carrier.
No. Okay, so the pogo pins aren't touching the tool. The pogo pins are from the circuit board in the back of the coupler plate to the pins. So we're not trying to solder wires to those dowel pins that are press fit into the carriage plate, into the coupler plate. Okay, so we have a circuit board with pogo pins on it that are already set up, and then you just put it on the back of the modified carriage coupler plate, and they engage with the pins and the circuits on the circuit board.
Oh, so this only engages during assembly, is what you're saying?
It only engages during a tool connection.
Well, I mean, it's always going to be engaged once you tighten the screw.
Once we complete assembling it, then yeah, the pogo pins are just there to ensure we've got a connection.
Okay, I was sorry, I was misunderstanding. I thought the whole point of pogo pins was so that it could make contact dynamically, I guess.
Oh, no, it's just during the assembly. It's like I'm not trying to hook up screws to the.
All right, my bad.
Or hook up those dowel pins, right? We're just making it so it's a drop-in.
Wow.
You know, are you following me now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My brain went somewhere completely different at first. My bad.
Okay, so it's literally we're just looking for a drop-in connection to those dowel pins.
Right.
So you're not trying to run wires and this or that, right?
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I'm slow.
You're not slow. And that screw is too dang short. Not gonna make it. So, but yeah, that's the idea.
That's yeah, okay, that's cool. Like, so I wonder how you set that up in the firmware. Like,
it's just an I/O. It's literally just another I/O. We could use one of the end stop connectors or something like that.
So you'd have essentially. So I haven't looked exactly how this is executed. So I'm assuming there's some sort of tool change macro, and the only time we'd really be looking at this is like we tool change, we look to see that we've got the signal, and then we just have essentially a pass or fail situation at that point. Is that?
Well, the thing is we can leave it in place and we can be monitoring it as a trigger. We leave it as like an end stop. So if that circuit opens while we're printing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only time that circuit should be open is during a tool change. But say we're printing, right?
Right.
Print, printing, and that circuit opens while we're printing. What does that mean?
You can pause the print?
Yeah, you go to, it's an e-stop essentially because.
Oh, we don't want it to be an e-stop. We would want it to pause, right?
Well, I mean, we don't know what happened. We throw a pause, right? But we throw an immediate pause because the reason I say an e-stop is because if that comes undone, we just drop the tool.
Not necessarily. It could just skew a tiny bit. Let's say it hits you know, a knobby piece of filament and it pops it off the pin for, you know, 100 milliseconds or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it, but my point being is if that opens while we're printing, we have, I mean, we may not have actually dropped the tool like you're right, we may not have actually dropped the tool, but what we do know is that the tool has come off of its kinematic mount or is no longer engaged on the kinematic mount. Now, it could be just temporary, it could be permanent, we don't know yet. But because we don't know, we have to treat it so, because otherwise we could be dragging a tool around that's not connected.
So I'm just thinking of a scenario, and we might find that it is a lot more common than anybody thinks that it might come off of one of those balls during the mid-print. And if we have some sort of destructive stop, nobody, might make it so you can't print anything.
Right, and we don't know, but that might be, it might be a matter of we just pause it, and maybe we don't pause it. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to cry wolf or anything like that on this.
Mm-hmm.
But from a safety standpoint, and I could be completely off base here, if it comes down to it, initially I like to fail safe, conservative, until we learn otherwise.
All right, that's fair. I'm just thinking that we need to consider the fact that it jiggling around during printing might be a thing.
It might, but we don't know.
Wouldn't be surprised at all. But so I don't really know what kind of stops that can get generated. But so let's say it jiggles and it's a really brief moment where it disconnects, and then let's say it reconnects. Is it just going to pause the print until somebody interacts with it, or is it going to be a destructive stop that you have to clear the bed and start all over again?
I think that part of that discussion right there is going to be whatever script is triggered by that event. So what happens is the event triggers, like we say we have a, like, we call it it's along the lines of an M600. Not necessarily exactly an M600, but something along the lines of a script that's triggered when that occurs. Does that check?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not as super up on GCode at the and all the different commands that can be issued.
Well, an M600 is a filament runout.
Gotcha.
And it triggers a pause, move to park, or whatever you tell it to do, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
It could be just record your position and park, or record your position and freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the motors engaged, right? Don't disable the motor steppers, but
Right.
just freeze. Stop where you are. And I don't know if that's necessarily the right answer or not. Is it Z? Do a Z move of 20 or 30 millimeters, and then pause? Do you park the tool head? Or the reason I would say is just a freeze is because you just dropped, you've disengaged the tool, right? And it's not disengaged during a tool change. Because during a tool change, a disengaged tool is just that. It's a disengaged tool. It's a thing that you expect. So not a thing that you have to worry about, right?
Yep.
But that's part of how you're scripted. If during the tool change you're tracking, just watching for the tool engaged, it also tell you when the tool is disengaged. If you do an unlock and you start to pull back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say you do your tool part, you throw the lock over, the lock tells you that it's been rotated, because we get that indication, right? But you go to pull back, and the tool doesn't disengage.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea. I mean, it has a lot of benefits as long as we write the scripts right.
And then where I started to get a little nuts about it. So we're already building a circuit board for the back there, right? So not only do we build the circuit board for the back there, but we put an NFC reader on it too.
You're saying for like tool board number?
NFC, near field communication, the chip reader on the circuit board that is reading the lockups. That NFC, then we chip the tools.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can get identification numbers on them?
Not only identification numbers, what if we get offsets? What if we actually get all the tool parameters?
I like the idea.
Somebody just pinged me.
It would be nice if we have wait a minute. NFC, how does that work exactly? Is that like some sort of wireless thing?
Yep. You ever use Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or something like that?
I'm aware of the existence of these things. I've never really used them personally.
Yeah, it's a near field communication. It's a chip reader. You ever use an access card to get into a building or something? Or
Yeah.
a hotel where you wave the card in front of the door?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's an RFID reader. NFC, near field communication, RFID reader. The thing is, the chips are passive.
How expensive are these chips, and how do you write to them? What's that?
The NFC reader can write to them. It's a reader writer. Take a look at MFRC PN532, MFRC or PN532. It's a near field communications controller. You can get one for about $6 on Amazon. You hook it up to an Arduino, and you can read and write chips, MyFair chips, and things like, or cards and things like that. You just get a rewritable chip, and you've got up to like a K or 4K or 16K of data you can write to it, and that's an awful lot of information if we're just looking for tool parameters.
Yeah, because that'd be nice if that way you can swap tools from the bench instead of, and then it just takes care of the offset when it picks up the tool. It's the idea, right?
Yep, offsets, temperature profiles, the tool parameters. You know,
one dumb board.
What's the nozzle size? What's the offsets? What are the nozzle shapes? Right? What's the taper on the nozzle? All that stuff that we need to know, because the offsets are great. They just tell you what the XY from the lock pin is, right? The face of the plate and the center of the lock pin. Yeah, different nozzles have different tapers on them, and so they have different clearance properties.
What do we need to know that for exactly?
When later on, when we get into instead of 2D printing, we're doing 3D printing. When we're actually moving into the X, Y, and Z for a layer.
So you're saying, I have seen a video where they're doing contours, but and using the Z dimension for it.
Yep.
But I wasn't sure. I guess I won't. With the way people love 3D printing, I guess it wouldn't surprise me to see that come to an open source format.
It's already open source.
Really? I thought it was done by a company. No?
Nope. There's a white paper for it. It's just math. You need to have a modified slicer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where the real thing is somebody's gonna have to slice these things?
Well, it's already being done by Slicer.
By Slicer itself? Really?
Yep. Yep. It's modified, but yeah, it's in there. Teaching Tech has got a video on it.
Yeah, I've only seen the briefest thing about it.
Okay.
Well, that's cool to know. I didn't think that was anywhere near fruition.
It's still really, really early, and I just cracked my board. Son of a, my print bed. Oh well, I have to move off. I have to mark that section on the bed as no print zone, or replace the board or the bed. Oh well. I need to bump my Z offset just a smidge. I don't have baby stepping. On the ender, I don't have a Z probe, so I don't really have baby stepping on set up on it. But I just need to bump my offset a little bit, and I can do that in the slicer. So Kira lets you update your Z offset as part of your GCode.
Gotcha. Debating if I want to set up all of the dumb boards or solder all of them right now, or if I just want to. Probably shouldn't. Should probably focus on. What's that?
I'd do at least 2.
No, I'm doing 2 right now. I'm just.
Or you're doing 2 or 2 sets, 2 pairs.
I'm just doing 2 to get the backplane stuff wired up, and then I was gonna worry about the tools later.
Oh, okay.
But I've got 4 boards trimmed down, and I just got some more dumb boards from Luke in today.
Okay. Yeah, I just got my dumb boards. I got 2 dumb boards from Luke and some filament runouts. I also received my GTR, an M5 Ford from Big Tree Tech.
Yeah, I have. I got 2 of Luke's filament runout monitors as well in the last go.
I need to mount it on my Hamera.
What's that?
That I need to figure out how to mount it to the Hamera.
Yeah.
Other than just get on, put a through. Yeah, I need to figure out how to mount it.
Yeah, I bought a couple. I probably shouldn't have, but I have a couple of Duets monitors.
Yeah.
And I figured I'd use those for my main tools, the ones that are going to probably be doing the majority of my printing. And
okay.
Then I'll stick with probably Luke's for the other 2.
So yeah, my GTR arrived today. The blower is still, I don't know where it is. Yesterday when I looked at it, it said it had been returned, but I'm not. It never left China.
The CPAPs?
So I got to. What's that?
The CPAPs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay for the time. I don't think I'm gonna probably get into the CPAP until after RepRap Festival.
Oh yeah, not surprising.
I just don't think there's going to be time to integrate that before RepRap Festival unless, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be lucky to have a running machine by RepRap Festival, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're already almost halfway through March and I haven't even laid one wire yet on the back panel. Which I hope to be remedying soon. Ah, dang it. These connectors are so easy to have not level.
Oh, did you? Oh, you did. Never mind. I have to go look at. I don't have the.
Don't have what?
Um, you know what? I can't even give these guys a bad review on speed of shipping. Because, you know, granted, it took almost 6 weeks to get here, but I don't know that I can give them a bad review for speed because it's nothing that they have any control over.
Right. Not with the current climate.
Yeah, and I don't have any problem with. I've always had very good service with Big Tree Tech, so I'm certainly not giving them any grief over that.
All right. Oh, I wish there were some guidelines to the wiring available.
Well, you're writing it. Yeah, there are guidelines. You're writing it.
No, I mean, just like the gauges he used, even if there's nothing specific.
Okay, so anything that's driving
Anything that's driving what?
Anything that's having a high current, you know, so your AC stuff and your DC power, DC and the power supply and the board,
Right.
your 16 gauge, right?
Yeah.
And then your 22 gauge, yeah, 22 gauge runs pretty much everything else. Wires to the hot end, and I mean the bed is going to be 16 as well, right?
Yeah.
And your hot end can probably get away with 22, although I think probably 20 or 18. The only reason I say that is because, I mean, it's 30-watt heater, right? How many amps does a 30-watt heater pull?
Yeah, I'd rather air up than down.
Yeah, so a 30-watt heater is going to pull about 2 amps. Now, okay, a 30-watt heater is going to pull less than 2 amps, but
So what do you think about using LED cable for the stepper motors? I think that's kind of what Josh was switching to, right?
yeah, the LED cable, I think, is what gauge? Hold on.
It's, I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, man.
I'm looking it up. Okay, LED strip 4-wire RGB wire is 22 gauge.
Is it?
Yep.
I thought it was thicker than that.
Nope, it's 22 gauge. Now, so this is 22 gauge stranded wire. Supports up to 4 amps of current at 24 volts. And it says it's tin to copper. And you can get it for $20.
Yeah, I have a bunch of wires somewhere. I'm trying to find it.
Now I'm using cable that I've been buying for my 15, and I'm pretty pleased with it.
God, I have so much crap.
So the wire that I'm using is the BN Tech Go. It's a tin copper wire, but it's using a 600 volt. It's a silicone insulator, right?
Mhm.
But the wire is like 252 strands in a 16 gauge wire.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning something crazy like that.
And it's a 600 volt insulation, but it's a silicone, so it's super flexible. And with that many thin strands, you're going to get flexible wire as well.
Oh man.
What?
Sorry. I I was looking through some of my stuff and I just discovered that I already had 20 pin cable, ribbon cable, and I just bought more 20 pin ribbon cable for the drum boards. Sorry.
That's okay. So so a 4-pin 50, it's the BN Tech Go silicon 22 gauge wire.
Mhm.
Oh, that's 24 gauge. Never mind. I'd love to get 24. BN Tech Go is probably the wire that I would want to stick with.
Okay. So, what gauge of wire were you saying you recommended for the stepper motors?
Well,
Yeah, because I have this, but I don't have to use it.
I don't actually. I'm not even on the live stream. Did you post it? Are you streaming?
Oh shoot, I didn't post it, did I? Okay, I'll post it. 1 second.
Okay.
The only thing I did is solder some connectors onto the dumb boards.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, look at that. All right, I'm watching that.
Yeah, I've got a big bunch of this cable, which.
Yep. And that is the cable that I was just looking at. If that's the one I'm thinking it is, it's probably 22 gauge.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it in my order history.
Because I was just looking on Amazon here.
I've had this cable sitting in a box for probably 3 years. There we go. 22 gauge, yep, you're right.
Yeah, so 22 gauge carries a little bit higher currents.
3.2 amps is what it says here.
What is that? Let's see. Yeah, and the other one I was looking at has
There, I sent you a link to what I bought.
okay.
So we're not. How many amps are we running? I thought I saw something about like 1 amp, or is it 2 amps?
Yeah, amp and a half.
Amp and a half. So you think this would be okay, or you think I should
I
up
would
it
say
up?
up to 2 amps.
What's that?
I would say up to 2 amps.
Okay.
That's going to be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah, the reason and this is the cable that I was going to look at, and I'll throw a link in here. 4-pin, 24 gauge 4-pin. Come on. All right, take a look at that.
Gotcha.
I would just do a quick look at the difference because I think this is PVC insulation, and it's probably not. You think you got 40 strands on each wire?
God, I have no idea.
Does it say what kind of insulation it's got on it?
PVC.
Okay, so that's a polyvinyl chloride. Yeah, this is a nominal 70 degrees on the wire.
Says minus 30 to 80 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And I don't see anywhere where it talks about how many conductors there are, but I can try to give a quick count, I guess.
So the reason I would the reason being the difference between silicone and PVC. Silicone is more flexible.
Well, I don't really need it to be moving around.
Stepper motor.
I mean, the cables, they're going to be stationary.
Okay.
I mean, the back panel, nothing's moving.
Okay.
I don't know what is going on. Oh,
What's wrong?
I forgot. So when I did this, there is a little step in the dumb board mount that is supposed to be there, and somehow when I edited it to do a revision, I lost that step, and I didn't realize that, and I couldn't get so I'm gonna have to kind of carefully drill that out a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute myself for a second.
All right. I'm going to step away for a moment. I'll be right back. So I'll be muted as well. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. Very easy, quick modification to clear out that little spot. Oh. Welcome back. It was a really quick, easy modification to fix that little bug.
Okay.
Just hit it with the drill real light and then a pair of snips, and it was like it never existed.
All set. Cool. I received 4 rubber duckies today. One of them got squished. One of these ducks is not like the other. I wonder if I should put something terrible in random. I guess random is where we put silly things, right?
Yeah, random is where we put anything that our heart desires to put in the chat, I think, that doesn't fit in the other categories. I don't feel like random has to even be related to 3D printing. As long as you don't become obnoxious about it. Not by you, I mean just by people in general.
It's a silly little video about making toast.
Silly little video about making what?
Toast.
See, perfect for random.
Oh yeah, and it strikes me as very much like kind of the things that we do. So it's posted. We'll see if anybody watches it. I'll see if I get a ban. If I get banned.
By the way, banned, I'm sure. By the way, I don't know if you're interested or not. If we have problems getting a CPAP blower, but I have this I think it's a 120 millimeter blower.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah, you can get them for about $15, I think.
Where?
I'll send you.
Okay.
They're not going to be as powerful as the CPAP, but that was going to be what I was going to prototype with back when I originally came up with this scheme, because I didn't feel like trying to mess with AliExpress. Give me a second and I'll get you the link.
Okay.
I did test it with a Duet without any kind of extra circuitry, and it worked just fine.
Okay.
$17.
A lot less expensive than the blower.
Indeed. Of course, it's never going to hold the head pressure the blower would, but
no.
There you go. Man, I wish there was like a zip tie, some zip tie spots right by the power supply.
Get the stick-on zip tie plates.
Oh, right.
And you can put them anywhere you want.
That's true. I don't know that I
It was returned to sender on the 9th. What?
I think I'll just have to run the wires and then do the zip tie holder later. I'm sure they aren't hard to find, but do you have any recommendations?
One sec. I will post a link in just a moment.
$10 for 100? That seems a little high to me.
$10 for a 100 pack?
Yeah.
What color do you want? White or black?
Black. There we go. $10 for
1019 for 100 in black by Nova Supply.
Yeah, that's what. Do they have adhesive on them already?
Yep, they got to use peel on the back.
All right. Well, that makes it a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, it's a 3M sticker on the back of it. You just peel it and stick it on.
There's another one, 250 from AP Tronics.
You know, it's worth having and for $15 you can get a 100 pack with zip tie.
I have tons of zip ties coming.
So 100 pack prime, $9.
So you like the Nova one, huh?
Oh, that was just the first one I came across.
Okay. Yeah, if you scroll a little bit down, there was 250 for $9.88. The only downside is that these things. Yes, I like the 988 ones. They're smaller.
Yeah, you get you're going to want the smaller ones.
Indeed.
The ones that are less than an inch on the side.
Yeah, the 250 pack was a quarter inch or 3/4 of an inch.
1288 or
Here, I'll send you a link to the one I'm looking at.
is it the XHF or
XGA.
$9.99 for 100 or you said 250, right?
There you go. I'll put a link in there.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Those are smaller. You can get small, medium, large. And there is space for you can put a number 2 screw in it.
Well, I plan on just using the adhesive. I don't really want to drill the acrylic.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can just stick it on there. There's also a cable management one with that's already got the zip tie built into it. They're a bit more expensive, but they have a cable that they're reusable. Let me throw a link in here real quick. Wow, I don't know how I got something that long, but yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
So they're 3/4 of an inch wide and almost an inch long, but it's got a reusable strap.
That does have an attractiveness to it.
And they also make them in black.
It's tempting. Seem rather large.
Well, so cut out a piece of paper and stick it down there and see what you think. Yeah, this one's got large and small. If I just want the small ones, I just want the small ones. You can get 1,000 of them, 1,000 of the 4-inch ones for $120.
Hmm.
I don't know that I need 1,000 of them, but I can get 50 for 21 cents a piece.
I do like the reusability of it, but I think I want something small.
What the heck are you doing, Ender?
How big are those bases again? I guess the base isn't really all that big, is it? It's a little less than an inch by a little under 3/4 of an inch.
Yep.
So it's not
That's
as
good.
big as they look.
No.
You said you could. I see the black ones, but they got. Do you find any that are small or just small?
These are, hold on, let me see if I can get a dimension on. Three-quarter by an inch, 1/4 inch wide strap that's 3.5 inches long. We're gonna get you a link. $10.49 for 50 of them.
Okay.
Unless you want to buy, a lot more.
No, 50 should be more than enough.
Hmm.
I'll be impressed if you can top your link length.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I'll be impressed if you can top your link length.
Nope. I had to find a smaller link. There you go. Try that one.
All right, cool. It just seems like a little bit of an egregious jump.
What?
25, 50, 1,000.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, you're looking at it, it's one of those things that you buy for your shop, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing installs and stuff, yeah.
I just think it's funny, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now that that's out of the way.
Hi, I'm so clean. My goal is to make your CPAP therapy a healthier and easier experience. Let me show you how. I got a CPAP sanitizer. And the
What you get for
reason,
looking at all the CPAP CPAP stuff?
well, I mean, I use a CPAP, right?
I know.
So, and this is it's an ozone sanitizer. So but it's set up so that in the morning you just take off the mask, drop it into the top of the machine, hose and all, and you leave it connected to your CPAP, right?
Mhm.
And then you just turn on the machine and it runs for 30 minutes and it pumps ozone through all the parts of your CPAP and actually like even your headset, even your headgear. I mean the cloth and whatnot. I don't know if
Mhm.
you're familiar with the CPAP.
I know some about it, but I'm not really an expert.
So, but it uses the same kind of stuff that hospitals and restaurants and hotels and things use to sanitize spaces.
Gotcha.
And so what it's doing is you're flushing a great deal of, pretty highly concentrated ozone, but it's all within the system. So it's, and being it's within the system, it,
You said
it
16
stays
gauge.
inside the hose, right?
Yeah, you said 16 gauge should be sufficient for our purposes, right?
16 gauge? Oh yeah. I'm using 16 gauge for all of my stuff.
Should I bother with all the fancy all the fancy nylon braiding for these power wires, you think?
Probably not. You want to be able to keep them under observation. Pretty much. Right?
All right.
Okay, that's actually a pretty slick looking unit. Initially, it not. I initially thought it was missing a part. However, said part was inside the unit. So once I opened it up, it was right there, and it's probably inside the unit because it's the one that's most used. And that's a pretty slick looking piece of injected molded plastic.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the adapter cover for my model of CPAP, the ResMed S10. So it's a cover that goes over the top of the humidifier tank, or replaces the top of the humidifier tank. That has a hose fitting inside. So oh, I also found my wire strippers that had lost.
Nice.
It was in the bottom of my bag. And when I say bottom, I mean I had to dump the entire thing out. Okay, one power brick, one set of instructions, and I'm printing another Charmander.
Another Charmander?
Yeah, I'm printing some low poly Charmanders. I printed one and took it to. It was funny because I printed one earlier today because I was doing a test print to see what kind of quality I can get. Because I've been working on dialing in the Ender 3. And it's got a little bit of fuzz on the back, but just a little bit, not really any stringing per se. I've got one little zit right in the back that matches up with the tip of the tail. And I think it just had to do with the short period of time it was on that layer. It was zipping back and forth. So no, I've been I'm printing these because they're great toys to give the kids.
You just put them out at Rep-Rat-Fest?
What's that?
Just put them out at Rep-Rat-Fest or something?
Oh, I might. What I might do is but really I'm just using it as a dial-in test, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently working it to adjust my bed distance until I get the my bed distance all dialed in.
Huh. I bought all the stuff on the bomb. Don't really know what he was intending to use some of this stuff for. Anyway, I've got to find the appropriate electrical widget. Trying to think of where I last stored some of those. Oh. You know, like the open-ended loops so that you can like put them into a screw terminal?
Yep. You mean crimp-on forks?
Yes, that.
Yep.
Surprisingly, apparently, either they weren't in the bomb or I didn't buy them.
It's something I just always have in my tool bag.
Yeah, I should have some too. I just don't use them that often, so I can't think of where I have them off the top of my head.
So I just put up a picture.
Charmander starting a duck army.
Maybe.
Better keep an eye on him. He may try to take over the basement.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure I can get a fair. I'm trying to see if I can get the height adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
So my 5mm by 80mm dowel pins and 304 stainless should be here on Tuesday. sound like a robot.
I said nice.
Ah, okay.
I was unsatisfied with the connectors I found, so I'm diving back into the closet thingy here, looking for more. I may have to just settle with using an off color for what I need.
Okay.
Apparently all the colors I have are blue and red.
Well, blue is what you're actually going to use for 15 gauge. Red is for 18.
No, I mean like I have blue and red of the same gauge.
No, you're not going. The color tells you which gauge you're running.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Sorry, don't mean to challenge you on that.
I thought I had a color pack that had a variety of colored ends.
Yep. Well, the colors are based on gauge of the wire.
I guess I don't need to continue searching.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
I picked up down here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'll change up my filament from orange to yellow and start putting Pikachus. I think these little cable straps also with the hole in the middle, I think we can slip an M3 screw with a hammer nut and use these to screw them down to extrusion.
Screw what down to the extrusion?
These little these straps, right?
Oh, you're talking about the yeah, okay.
Right? I mean, it might work. I don't know if it'll work or not.
I do have a different plan for the extrusion. But it's probably not going to be something that's easily accessible by everybody. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll change what I was going to do. But at work, essentially, we have some conduit that's really small, and it's not very expensive, actually. It's like you can get a pretty decently long piece for, I think, like $13, they said.
Okay.
But I think you might have to order, more than you might want to order in order to get that price. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
It's just because, they have it at work because we use it all the time. So they can potentially get bulk discounts for it. And it's already midnight.
It is.
I feel like I've accomplished very little. I soldered a few dumb boards together.
Yeah.
And not really much else, to be honest, that I can think of. All right. So blue says.
Who does?
Oh, I'm just looking here. blue is 16 to 14 and red is 16 to 22.
Red should be 18 to 22.
Well, this kit must be wrong then.
Well, they're not. It's supposed to be a different gauge, but yeah.
I'm reading right off of what the kit says at the moment. Wait a minute. So what you're saying is blue would probably be the best bet then?
If you're running 16 gauge, I run all my 16 gauge with a blue connector. And I run in my 18 gauge with the red connector so I can tell at a glance which one I'm looking at.
Sounds fair.
So I think this wire is probably not good.
What wire?
Nope. I was trying to find some. So there's a plenum grade stranded hookup wire, right? It's basically alarm, but it's custom. It's alarm wire. It's a 4-conductor 22 gauge. But your stepper motors, I mean, if you've got a non-moving stepper motor, then it's probably fine. But it's in a white sheet, so it's a cable, not a ribbon cable, and it's shielded, which actually isn't necessarily. It's grounded and shielded, which is actually probably something worth looking at. CLP jacket, 22 gauge, AWG 4-conductor stranded shield plenum cable, so it's plenum rated, which means if it catches on fire, it's not going to off-gas toxic. It also has shield and rain wires. Which actually, I think I kind of like this idea because you can throw a ground in it. Because it's got a shield on it and then a copper ground. So the wire's actually got 5 strands in it. So you could also use it to run grounds to your different parts of your machine. So if you run a ground, or you use this wire to pick off a ground to your, but it's shielded, which means it's also going to be noise, or going to take care of noise as well. 22 gauge is what you want.
What do you want that for exactly?
It's for the steppers.
Oh, you're talking about that 4-wire.
Yep.
Bound determined to get something connected. Well, I mean, at least some wires on this, even if it's not doing anything yet. Oh, nuts. I accidentally caught the black wire because I had the red and the black in my hand at the same time.
Yeah.
In the crimper as I was trying to crimp the red. And I'm
Out.
like, oh crap. So I started I pulled the red or the black wire out. And then I'm like, okay, it's out. And then I crimp. And then I'm like, oh, I pulled the red wire out at the same time. What a genius.
Agent.
Hey.
How's it going?
Pretty decent.
You have a habit of signing on shortly before I'm going to sign off.
Yeah.
Aren't you East Coast, I thought?
I am, and unfortunately, I got home tonight and had a work emergency that I ended up basically working through dinner.
Yeah, we basically, so we had talked about yesterday about, remote workers and testing and things like that.
Yep.
How convenient, because today in our quarterly review, with, the all hands quarterly review, with the executive leadership for the company.
Yep.
And specifically, there was an extended discussion regarding remote work and the COVID-19 response and whatnot. This part of this was the end of year call too. So, it was, but also we had our vice president of facilities and safety, who was on stage for the very first time. It's like I had never even heard this man's name. But yeah, there was an extended conversation about remote work and how what people can use to stay at home, and one of the other things is how many of our customers are reaching out directly to us on how to implement a remote strategy, because it's something they'd never really thought about.
Oh, a friend of mine's company today realized that they're going to have more people working from home, so they need to up the bandwidth to their data center, and he was busy trying to get circuits added, but they're telling him 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep, because everybody's doing it. The other thing is we've got customers who have come to us and they're doing things like, yeah, I need 700 new servers. It's like, what? How fast can you get them to us?
Yeah.
It's like, how about, we can do blades, and they went, that'll work. It's like, all right. Or, I need another 4,000 laptops because all of our data, the call center people are working from home.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that we did this, but something we started last year is called Workspace ONE.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It allows us to configure to the user level individual systems before they leave the assembly factory.
Oh, cool.
So they get an image, they get the user package, and it's all tied in with the VMware, right?
Yeah.
The RSA and LDAP and all that stuff is already basically pre-configured. And it's by user. It gets their name and their order, and it gets shipped directly to them, and it's already configured out of the box.
That's nifty.
Can you imagine from an IT perspective how awesome that would be?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and here's the image. There we go.
My friend always ends up doing a lot of stuff where they ship them to his office. He configures them, and then he reboxes things and then resends it. So he's done entire network deployment where every router, switch, you know, appliance is configured in their lab at the office, built out, and then recreated and shipped out.
Oh my gosh. So we were in a conversation regarding wire sizes and wire gauges.
I kind of thought that
With
might
the
work.
And I don't, any stepper that's moving, I would definitely want a silicon stranded wire instead of PVC. But maybe that's just me.
None of the steppers should be moving though.
Yeah, I was going to say steppers I wouldn't necessarily worry as much about. Your carriage, yes.
Yeah.
The big thing you got to worry about with anything that isn't like a silicone, any kind of like normal stuff, is whether it's going to like get abraded.
Yep.
What's really bad with that is drag chains.
Yeah.
If you ever use drag chains, they should have plenty of room in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you also want your cables set so that they aren't trying to move inside of the drag chain.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the YouTubers just did a whole video.
Was that Thomas Salander?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of betting if the way things are going right now that Murph is going to get canceled.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.